My name is Chris Blayden. I am CEO of Zymedyne Therapeutics and also the co-founder. We're a Canadian and Australian-based company, and we're looking to develop non-opioid-based pain therapeutics.
Interest so in that chronic pain space, yeah, and the therapeutics.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about like where that came from.
Where it came from? It's actually the origin story is a little interesting in that I did my PhD in Calgary, and then when I graduated looking for positions, I found a tremendous position here in Sydney in Macquarie University working as a research lecturer. Mm-hmm. A lot of my work, research work, was on pain and other disease indications. So I was doing that at Macquarie University and working quite successfully. However, my family, my wife and kids are still in Canada, so I went back in 2020 to pay them a visit, which I was doing quite regularly. Yeah. And
early 2020?
Yeah, there you go. You see where this is going, right?
Yeah.
So I literally came over on March 9th, 2020 for supposedly a 2-week...
Wow, that's on buzzer.
Yeah, a 2-week visit. And then the very next day, Australia locked everyone out because I'm now an Australian citizen. Not yet, anyway. I'm finally now a permanent resident. But back then... they wouldn't let me back in. So I was basically stuck in Calgary, and so I made a few calls and called my old PhD supervisor and said, "Is there anything happening here?" Because I actually thought I was going to lose my job. That was one of the things, and so I was saying, "What's going to go on?" And he told me that the University of Calgary is actually starting an entrepreneur program for startup companies, and he thought that some of the work that we had done earlier was a perfect sort of vehicle for this, and that because I had already industry experience in that I would be a good person to apply for this. So while everything was sort of collapsing in the world around us, I applied for this funding for a startup company and actually got it. And so that's how Zymidine was formed.
Oh, cool, yeah.
In the meantime, Macquarie University was able to pivot, as most companies and universities did, to online learning. So I started teaching pharmacology and neuroscience from Calgary to Sydney. So that was kind of, albeit at 11 o'clock at night because the time changed, but it was all fun. And got the company going. And so we started to sort of do the research and carry on. And we went from strength to strength. And the interesting thing about the company is that when you do a startup like that, it focuses the research a lot more. And so we were able to sort of develop our idea about non-opioid-based pain therapeutics a lot quicker into that format.
Yeah.
So that was what happened. And then finally, COVID relented, and I was allowed back in. All the while I was working online with Macquarie University, I was also able to steal some lab space in the University of Calgary to carry on my research as well. Yeah. And came back to Macquarie University and set up in their incubator, the Macquarie Incubator, the company Zymedyne, to get it established here and to spread the word here, because Australia is a great place for developing startups.
Yeah, it is, and the chronic pain issue is a real big one too. Interesting, backstory with both the Canadian and the Australian crossover, and I'm keen to learn a little bit more about the solution then, being non-opioid pain. Yeah. What's the therapeutic then? Like, what's the solution? Talk to me a little bit more about the product.
Talk about the problem, sorry?
Oh, the product, sorry.
The product. Well, we are developing a drug, but what's unique about our drug is the target and the mechanism involved, in that it only occurs in people with chronic and neuropathic pain. So what we did is develop drugs that target this unique mechanism, and it's able to inhibit the pain signals, the electrical signals that go to the brain that tell you that you're in sort of serious pain. And so what our product does is very simple. It produces these proteins called ion channels, which have been a known target for pain therapeutic by biopharma for many, many years. But what's unique to ours is that we don't actually block these proteins or block these channels. We actually just reduce the number. And so it's analogous to sort of turning the volume control down on the pain signal from really high down to the normal sort of ambient levels that it normally is. And that's where we patented our technology. And the trick was to find unique molecules, unique drugs that would target this, which we've now done, and we've developed and optimized. And we've shown tremendous efficacy in the animal pains of chronic ileal.
Yeah. And super important having that evidence base, the research side, and tying that in with the startup piece. And I often find they're two very, different worlds, but they need to come together to translate that therapeutic into an actual thing. How's that kind of journey of bridging those two sides of the bridge to make it connect in the middle?
Well, luckily for us, both myself and my co-founder, Gerald Samponi, have sort of tiptoed into the sort of base industry. And for instance, my co-founder had started a company before, co-founded a company that developed a pain drug, and eventually it went all the way to market. They licensed it. Myself, I worked in industry for a couple of biopharmaceutical companies and research companies. So we had a bit of that background, as well as being some of the, without sounding too arrogant, some of the leading researchers in pain. We're world-renowned in the pain field. And so we have that going for us in that. Big pharma, all the big companies actually know who we are. They know our research. We're very well known in the pain space. So we're able to combine those two things, a bit of industry experience and the research together, and sort of be able to sort of be very focused on what we're trying to do here, which is to commercialize and make it available.
Yeah, no, they're two very important elements to make it come together. And so what stage is it at now? Like where's
We're actually, it's a very exciting stage for us in that we're finally at the point now where we're in what they call the IND enabling, which is investigational new drug stage. So we've just started to do that. We've optimized our compounds. We have lead compounds. And now they're going through the sort of preliminary safety farm toxicology studies before. That's the precursor to human clinical trials. So that's where we're at now. So we have to do a whole series of sort of experiments. There's a fairly well-known sort of pathway to get to IND designation. Once you get IND designation, you can then start planning your clinical trials. So we're at the beginning stages of that IND enabling, doing some preliminary safety and farm. And of course, a lot of this has to be farmed out to independent companies. So it has to be independently verified. Obviously, there's a very strict code that you have to follow, and so it has to be sort of government backed or government authorized sort of research as well.
Yep.
And so we're at the point now where we need to raise the funds for that. And as you can imagine, cost of IND enabling and also the cost of human clinical trials is prohibitively expensive. When it comes to researchers, when we go for government grants and that, they give you a certain amount of money, but when it comes to drug development, you're in the next league, the next level of. So we're looking for investors, and we've been sort of in contact with big pharma as well. They're excited about what we're doing, but of course, like any investor, they want a certain amount of de-risking. Yeah. So they said to us, basically, come to us when you've got something in phase one, and then we'll talk. But they're very excited, and we keep them updated.
Yeah.
And they basically gave us a sort of pathway that we could sort of follow to sort of get to that stage.
Yeah, so that pathway to getting in the hands of patients is that's pretty clear there. So, and is that what? So here at ARCS, part of BioBeacon, sharing some of your work with the delegates here, is that part of the journey to building that kind of awareness and
absolutely sort of name recognition, what we're doing, getting our name out there. If there were any prospective investors or people that who know, or as well as companies that can help us, we can partner with, and so all of that is included. And again, it's a global problem, so it's been kind of nice for us to sort of do this in North America, but also in Australia, to make the audience as wide as possible. Right now, a lot of our work is still being done in Calgary because that's where our labs are and that's where the base is. And so, but we're looking for the kind of money we're looking for. We're talking several $1 million just to get it started up.
Yeah.
You need sort of investors with experienced pockets that can sort of partner with us, and patients too.
Patients with the CE. And
well, it takes several years, but we're not going to be the company that sort of makes the drugs and markets that. That's what big pharma does best, and it costs hundreds of millions of dollars to do that. So our business plan is to get it to phase 1 and then partner, license with a big pharma, and they do what they do best, which is take the drug through the secondary, third phases of human trials and to get it to market and so on. So that's the business plan, and that's kind of what big pharma would expect. And we've sort of done that before as well, partnering with big pharma before. So we kind of knew that's the path.
That's the path. Yeah.